Hey, Amber. All right. Starting a little bit later than what I had hoped, but hopefully this says the stream health is good, we're stable. The problem wasn't necessarily with me streaming just now, it was my computer couldn't handle it so that I couldn't see the stream, so I didn't know if it was up or not. So I'm solving that through another way. So I am back. All right, so GameCube quilt. Yesterday, this is what I accomplished. So I got the logo done of it. Today I am going to cut out and iron all of the bottom and the applique work. So what I've already done is figured out my lettering, and I'll show you how I did the lettering in a bit. And I also cut out this big black area down there. So this is the fabric that my applique is going to go on. Oops. And I unplugged one of my lights. There we go, because I stepped on it. It's funny, I have a problem of stepping. Fantastic. Thanks. I'm glad it's good. I think I have finally fixed the problems. So I did the class today for the shin sack, and it was funny because I joke that I'm 95% sure that I turned the machines off, because what I just did there, I kicked the power cord. I do that in the classes all the time. Like as I'm walking up and down and looking at the students to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to, I accidentally kick the power cords. All right, so here is the area that we're putting our Nintendo GameCube. So now this is how wide the entire quilt is going to be, and this is before I do all of the borders. So let's take our logo just so you can see. See, so then you're going to have black onto the right and left around this logo. And what I did earlier today, I grabbed Nintendo GameCube, the exact font and everything that was used before, and I blew it up. So I blew it up into a size that I liked. There we go. And it's not quite centered right now, so I'll move this just to show you. But it's going to look like that underneath of it. So it's larger than the logo, which is what I wanted it to do, and it's big enough. Now I'm not going to put it right at the top because I want to have some room, but I'm not going to center it either. So what I'll probably do is center it between these two once I get it done. So the next step is the actual applique. So let me show you how I do that. So this gets set aside. Excuse me. And this gets set aside. Oops. Let me put that down there. All right, and it is light table time. I love my light table. So if you notice on the stream, oh, thank you, Amber. If you notice on the stream, I've got a couple of things that have changed. I have the, where is that? If you look at the chat box, it's actually on the stream. I actually changed it a little bit. I also, oh, thanks for the host, Amber. I actually have a little thing that pops up, so the follow thing's a little bit different, and I've blown them both up so that I can see them much more easily. So I can see when people follow me and host me and do all that. So yay. So that's awesome. But you'll also notice that I put the For More logo down in the bottom left. The reason why I did that is because that is where I got my light table. So this is the Daylight light table. It is an amazing thing. This is what I use for all my applique. And For More is the company that carries them. So they carry this one and one that's smaller. And I love this thing. It is almost indestructible. All right, ready? I like doing that. So you can stomp on it, you can bang it, you can do anything you want. This sucker is not breaking. It is an amazing light table. and that is how bright it is. So it's super bright. You can also change the brightness just by holding the power button. As you see, the brightness is changing until it goes completely off. The only downside to this light table is if you bump the power. Let me bring that all the way back up again. If you bump the power, it's heat sensitive, so it'll go off and on. So simple as that. So this is my light table, and I love it. So with applique, we are going to be taking these letters, and we're going to be putting the fusible web onto the back of it, and then ironing it onto our fabric, and then sewing around it to hold it in place. So in order to do that, we need to put this onto the fusible web. So the first step, I have my pattern, is I need to trace the wrong side. And I'll show you why when we get there. But first, I'm tracing the wrong side. Now I'm going to use a pen on this just because it's easier. And there we go. Turn my light table on. So if you notice, it's super easy with a light table to see through. Oh, hi, Chrissy-Ann. How are you? And I realized Digital Bath probably is not watching now. They subscribed to me this afternoon. But if you see this on YouTube, thanks for the follow. I appreciate that. So this is the wrong side. You can see through it really easily. So I want to be able to see through it even more, and I don't want to trace over ones that I don't have to. So the first thing I'm going to do is trace over the letters that I want. So the only ones I want in here is the N and the G. So I'm going to do that, so I know I'm not doing those. And what this does, because I can see it, in fact, let me pull my fusible web so you can see. Here's my fusible web. So you can still see, oh, actually, you know, I don't have to trace it. All right, I'm going to save time. I'm not tracing. All right, so I'm just going to figure out what I'm doing. So the N and the G. For this one, I'm doing the I, the AM, and the IN. For this one, EC, TN, and then everything. Then UBE and NDO. Great. All right, so, and I'm only going to do this once, so I'm going to do it the super easy way. I am going to trace it and then mark it off on my sheet because make mistakes. You know how many times I have retraced a letter like 3 and 4 times, or I have forgotten. So if you've watched the Link Stained Glass, there are like 2 pieces that I forgot to make. So, oh, I did. Let me show you. Let me show you. I screwed it all up a couple of times, but I got it done. So I actually finished the entire center logo on last night's stream. So if you want to watch how I did it and all the ways I screwed up, it's up on YouTube now. All right, so let's get to tracing. Now this fusible web that I'm using is Heat and Bind. I'm going to do it this way so you can see the lovely stuff. Let me turn that off so you can see it better. Heat and Bond has a couple of different kinds of fusible web. They have strong, they have light, they have thick, they have thin, they have all sorts of different ones. And I like a super strong hold when I'm dealing with fusible web. So I've always did the heavy stuff. The downside to it is it was very stiff, very hard. So with a quilt, it felt like you had stabilizer in there. So if you imagine if you have anything that's embroidered, like a logo here, if you feel it, it feels a little stiff because it has stabilizer. That's the way that my quilts would feel with that in the area that I had the applique. When I went to Fall Market in Houston this past time, I actually saw the Heat and Bond people, and they gave me samples of a brand new fusible web that was coming out. So I got this in December, finally, after I played with it. It is a brand new product. It is called the Soft Stretch, and it is the Ultra. So it's a no-sew, but I can sew it. Soft Stretch Ultra. This stuff is amazing. So, fantastic. Yeah, I know. Stupid Yeah. I know, I tried to stream earlier to catch everyone that's on that part of the world, but then I feel bad because I need to stream later for the West Coast, so I try to go in between. So this is actually for cosplayers. They created this with cosplayers in mind because cosplayers don't want the stiffness, but they want an ultra hold. That's what this is. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I did it with, in fact I have the link quilt. I used it for the first time in my link quilt, and it's the first link quilt that I did. It was stiff. This is soft, and it's nice, and it feels like actual fabric. So it's super cool, and I love it. So I am using this forever, and as you see, I bought an entire bolt of it because I love it so much. So if you're looking for a soft but strong, applique paper, fusible web, the Heat and Bond stuff is really good. Alright, so what I'm doing is on fusible web, and I've got it wrong, it goes that way. Fusible web has, if you haven't appliqued before, there's two different sides. You have a smooth side, and you have a rough side. The rough side is the glue side, so I don't know if you can see in the camera or not the shininess on this one. This is the glue. You never want to draw on the glue. You want to draw on the paper side, the smooth side. So let me copy some of these over. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start at the very end. Now you can move your paper all around in order to do your tracing. And all I'm doing is tracing it. And I do not have an artistic bone in my body, but I can trace. And that's why Nicole does 90% of my patterns. And I have her draw things out for me, or I have Jordan draw things out for me. Jordan is a really awesome drawer. Hi, 6-0. Do you want me to call you LOL, or do you want me to call you 6-0? Because I could go either way. Now you notice in the B here, there's a little bit here. You want to trace everything. And I'll show you when I get to cutting it out. So trace everything, including all the holes and everything in the middle. Okay, so I've got the U, I've got the B, and I'm doing the E, right? C, U, B, E. Yep, there's another E. And I'm just going to go down my fusible web. Oh, I'm sorry, Amber. Oh, yes, did you go back and... Thank you, I did miss that. Yes, I did actually remember to go back to the one from 2 days ago and edit out the entire 20 minutes where there was no sound at all. And then I have a whole checklist of things that I now do before I stream, and one of them is check to make sure the audio is working. So things you learn, right? That's one of the things I was talking about to some of the ladies over at the Family Center today where I did my teaching. Because they were asking how the streaming was going. And I said, I love it. It's amazing. And I learn something every single time. So I am making a GameCube quilt. If you look at the stream, on the bottom left, you'll see the GameCube. I'm making that quilt. So the past 2 days, I did this. I made the logo in the center. And then today, I'm doing all that lettering that you see below. And hopefully, if I have time, put it all together. So yeah, I learn something every single time I stream. All right, so I've got the U, the B, the E. Now let me start doing the little letters. It's always easier to move your paper than it is to move your light table. Thank you very much. If I upload every single one of my streams to YouTube the next day, so if you want to see how I made that, you can go back to YouTube. Monday, I made the templates to make that, and then I made my first square, and I explained how my game plan for how to do it. Last night, I finished that, and yeah, Amber can tell you, it was interesting. I messed up quite a few times. I used my seam ripper a lot. Alright, I did the N. And like I said, this is the only time I'm making this quilt, so as I'm doing the pieces, I'm marking them off. And then that way, when I go back through, I can see what I have done. E, and then O. Yes. See, but that's, and I know I've said this to you guys many times, but for new people that pop in, that is why I stream, is sewing. I love sewing. I have a passion for it. I love quilting. I have a passion for it. And anyone, I don't care who you are, if you're artistic, if you're not, anyone can sew. Everyone's going to mess up. It happens. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to stream, is to show all of my mess ups and everything that I do. Because I want to encourage people to sew. Alright, so this page is done. I'm going to do it this way. On to the next one. So I'm doing the E, the C, the T, and the E. So let me do the big ones. You know, let me do the little ones. Because I'm going to try to keep all of the same. I want to keep Nintendo together, and I want to keep GameCube together, because they're two different colors that I'm using for them. So if you look in the design, Nintendo is in gray, and GameCube is in white. So I'll be ironing them onto different fabrics. I know I said already how much I love this light table, but I really do love this light table. It is my most favorite thing I have gotten. And if you do applique, now if you don't have a light table but you want to applique, the poor man's way of doing this is take them and then take your applique paper and then tape the sheet, so tape this to a window and then put the applique paper over top of it and draw it from the window and it'll shine through. That's the way I used to do it before I got a light table. So my old one I got cheap at Michael's, because it was a damaged open box product, but it worked just fine. Alright, I'm gonna wait on the EC because I've got, on this one, if you look at the GameCube logo, the A and the M are combined together. So that's going to be really long, so I'm going to put that right here, combined together. And then I can see how much room I have for everything else. Now you notice how some of my lines, I don't know if you can see it on the camera well or not, some of my lines are way out of there. I'm not, when I'm tracing it, it's not perfect at all. Whatever, it's fine. Whenever I'm cutting it, I'll fix all the little issues as I'm cutting it to make it look good. Alright, so that is done. So while I've got this one, let me go back up here and do the I and the N. Alright, I've got a G, a C, and an E. G, C, E. So it's going to go that way. I don't think... I know I still have the I. I don't think I can fit the E or the C. No. So I was making sure if I can fit them in this spot right here, and I can't. So that extra N, it's because I have another N here. So I'm just going to take the N from here and mark this complete. The extra N and I, I'm just going to put it right underneath here. Hi, Marley. You good boy. I have a visitor. The shy one. N. And then I. Alright, so that one is done. So now I just have large letters to do. Can I fit them in here? Oh, I can. I didn't think I could. I really like my new setup, how I can see the follows and the comments a lot better. Oops. That one's kind of funky because it was right in the corner. There we go. Alright, G is done, so this one's done. I have, oops. See, that's what I mean. If you bump the power, because it is heat sensitive, it will turn off. And I'm actually going to use a scrap piece for this E, because I don't want to waste this whole large chunk of my applique paper and create another scrap. I save every single scrap of my applique paper. Alright, where did I put it? Oh, there it is. I've got it right here. Alright, so that's the C. Oh, hey, look at that. It fits right there. And even though I'm using a chunk of it, I'm still not throwing this piece away. Because when I save money on materials, I can keep the prices of my quilts low. There we go. Alright. So that is done. So I'm going to double check because remember, I mess things up. So let me turn that off so I can double check. Alright, there. And now, I'm going to make sure. So, GameCube, G-A-M-E-C-U-B-E, Nintendo, N-I-N-T-E-N-D-O. So, N-I-N-T-E-N-D-O. Yep, okay, I've got them all. Fantastic. Oh, and I just realized my paper scissors are upstairs because I brought them to class today. So let me move that. That's all of the light box, my amazing light box. That's all I need it for. This is done, so I can pitch those because I'm never going to make this quilt again. I've got that. All right. So, quick 30 seconds. I'll be right back and go grab my paper scissors. Alright, I'm glad that the cat did not sneak behind me and go up on the table this time. Alright, paper scissors, paper scissors. Always, always, always have a pair of scissors for paper. Do not use your fabric scissors. Reason being, you dull them out. You do not want to make them dull. Oops. I put that away before I cut that off. There we go. All right. Now, the next step. See? You guys know me too well now. Sorry, that makes me laugh. You know what's funny is I was totally expecting that too. Which is why I was like triple checking everything. Because I don't want to get to the end and realize I forgot something. Okay, next step. Now we're going to stick the letters onto the fabric. So, only thing I'm going to do at this moment is separate out the two different colors. Alright, so here is white. Yep. And notice how on my instructions I put white, gray. So I have them in there so I don't mix them up, which again I've done. So the GameCube itself is white. Nintendo is gray. So I'm going to set those, let me stick them up here because I'm going to cut my fabric. Here's my beautiful gray that I picked. You know what? I'm going to stick them over here. I don't want to accidentally knock them off. Oh my god, dogs. Yeah, it's funny because I'm like, I think I see something, but with the black background, it was hard for me to see. That's awesome. I love that, Amber. That's so cute. Okay, so with this, the gray is the Nintendo. So I need to cut it just as wide to put my pieces. And it doesn't have to be a perfect cut. In fact, I'm going to trim this a little bit. Hi, Marley. What are you doing? Hi. Are you a good boy? You are. I'm not giving you things just because you're cute. I know. All right. Is the cat on the ironing board and she's not supposed to? Are you tattling on her? Are you tattling on her? Yeah, we're going to have to move her and clean the ironing board in a moment. Because Kitty Cat's not supposed to be there. Now, even though it doesn't have to be perfect for here, I am making sure that I am doing a straight cut here. That way I don't have to trim the next time I make a cut with this fabric. And that's all this fabric is being used for. So I'll put that off to the side. All right, Kitty Cat. You gotta go. Go. There you go. I know, Marley. Marley's trying to play with the cat. The cat is deaf. So the deaf cat can't hear the dog barking at her. So she doesn't understand that he's even barking at her and he wants to play. And now, the GameCube is going to be in white. So this is Kona. It's by Robert Kaufman. It is just a plain, regular old solid. And that's what I use Kona for a lot of my solids, just because I really like them. So if you get a quilt from me, most of the time the back will be a black Kona. Because I like putting black on the backs of my quilts just because they're so... Black is a good color because it doesn't show wear or dirt or things like that as much as other colors. Alright, I've got that. Okay, so next step. I've got my fabric. I'm going to do the Kona first because it's easier. So first thing I want to do is iron the fabric so there's no wrinkles in there. There we go. Now my iron has no steam, so I turn the steam off for it because this is glue. So if you have steam on it, it may affect the bond of the glue. So you don't want that. Then I'm going to lay my letters down on my fabric, and it's glue side down. And then I'm just ironing it flat. There we go. And now my letters are on the fabric. Now, I said that one was easier because it makes a difference which side I iron it to this fabric. So first thing, right side up. Now remember with fabric, the right side is the side that has the color or design. The wrong side is the wrong side that doesn't have the color or the design. Now the Kona doesn't make a difference. The solids, whatever. So this is the fabric that I want showing on the quilt. So I'm going to put that face down. And then I'm going to iron my letters to the wrong side. And that's it. And that is why we trace them backwards. So if anyone has watched the stream where I did the bumpers for the robotics competition, I did the numbers backwards. Like, I did the numbers forwards, which was wrong, and so they ended up backwards. So I had to redo it. And for that one, I used my scan and cut, my brother's scan and cut. So all of this stuff I'm doing right now, the drawing and the cutting it out, the scan and cut does a lot of that stuff. So this way, I wanted to show you the more old school, traditional way of doing applique. And it was just easier to actually show you everything. So now, I cut it all out. So now we reached the boring part of the stream where I'm going to sit here for about 15-20 minutes and cut letters. So how have you guys been? And I'm going to cut these up and make it easier. So anything new and exciting happening with anyone out there? Or is it another boring evening? I know I'm super excited that I am almost done with this quilt top. Good. See, an okay is good. Great is better, but okay is good. I had an amazing class today. Those kids, I love those kids. They're amazing. Everyone made a cinch sack, and it looked pretty darn cute. They're going to put the pictures up on their Family Summer website, so I'll make sure that I link them and talk about it on Facebook. Oh, new job. See, I'm not going to ask you if you like your new job or not, because you never know if you don't like it who is watching. So that is a loaded question I won't ask. But if you're tired, it means you're probably learning a lot. You know what? I'm going to toss them in there. My trash can over there is almost full. Okay, so I have the O, right? I need to cut that center out. If you ever need to cut fabric or do something like this, the easiest way, fold it. Don't press it because you don't want to do it. Just fold it a little bit and cut the center. What that's going to do is it's going to give you a nice little hole that you can stick your scissors through. Oh, I need to get my little scissors. My little embroidery scissors to cut out that little hole that you can then get your scissors into and cut out. See, hopefully, Chrissy Ann, the new job, it's a good tired. Yeah. See, and that's what I'm trying to I'm trying to be careful sometimes, because sometimes I give a little too much information. Like, when I'm going to be away. Well, of course, if I'm away by myself, it's not a big deal. But there's some things you really do have to be careful. The internet is a place where almost anyone can see what you are doing. Now, I personally don't mind. I have nothing to hide. Oh, that reminds me, I need to register for spring market, for the quilt market. So, in the quilt world, they have their own trade show, like other places. And the quilt trade show is called Market. There is one in the fall that is always in Houston, and there's one in the spring that travels around. And the one this spring is going to be in St. Louis. So I need to get my badge and sign up for classes. Set up for the stuff that I want to do. Here we go. Good, 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 good. See, it's funny because I don't ever get stir crazy. But I get cabin fever because I work at my house. And even though I travel a lot, sometimes I don't leave the house when I'm home. My husband used to make fun of me. He would come home from work and I would be on the computer working or quilting, and he'd look at me and say, "You haven't taken a shower today, have you?" I was still in my pajamas. Like, why? No need when you work from home. But of course, when I stream now, I have to take a shower and I have to brush my hair and put some clothes on. Although today I taught that class, so. But yeah, no, it's I am the kind of person, if I'm not doing something, I go crazy. So I can completely understand the stir crazy. So that is awesome for new job then. it's been 41 minutes already? Yeah, it has. Fantastic. I can't believe it's 6:34 already. So I think I'm gonna sew the gray first because I've got the gray in my machine. So if you've only been watching the past couple of streams, you've seen the smaller machine set up. This is my baby. This is my bigger machine. It is the Innovus QC 1000. It is the precursor to the Quilt Club. It is the Quilt Club. I'm sorry. It's the precursor to the Laura Ashley version that Brother has. So it's my baby. But I don't want to wear it out on simple piecing. So that's why I use the cheap machines for simple piecing. Because if something goes wrong with the machine, it's cheaper to replace it than it is to fix it. Alright, so Nintendo is all done. I got my letters. Time for GameCube. And when I cut them up like this is just making it manageable. So I'm not taking a big piece of fabric. There we go. You know what? I'm gonna sew those on. No. Yeah. I was gonna make it not boring and sew them and then come back and cut these, but I need to have it all laid out. You'll see why when I put it on there. See, and this is why in the link streams I did all of the tracing and ironing, and then I cut them off camera. Oh, why am I making it so hard on myself? My phone is starting to die. And that's got my music on it. There we go. Of course, my little thing popped up. Go, and I'm gonna stick them over there. Now I haven't finished this yet because I want to wait and do the center stuff last. Because I've got my big scissors out. Why am I gonna switch scissors if I don't need to? Now before, when I was ironing all this in, I said it didn't make a difference for the lines. I didn't cut right along the lines. I cut of how I think it's going to look. And I'm trying to make it smooth and nice. Now the corners, I'm rounding just a little bit, because this is what is referred to as raw edge applique. Meaning the edging of the fabric is right along here. You can also do needle turned applique, which is by hand, where you actually flip it and the edges are kind of tucked in a little bit. And it makes it's a lot nicer and smoother and prettier. It takes like 10 times as long. So if I did the needle turned, I would have to charge a lot more money than the raw edge. And personally, the video game and comic book quilts I think look fine with the raw edge. If anyone is interested in the difference, there is a couple of videos on YouTube about the needle turned applique that, yeah. When I first got into applique, I thought that was the only way to do it. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I can't do applique. This just takes way too long. It's so intensive. And then someone showed me raw edge and I went, oh. Now these are going to be secured a little differently. I did. And in fact, that's what I was going to say. The next thing is that the link quilt, I did raw edge, but I did a straight stitch. So it's really a raw edge. It's not meant to be used as a quilt. It's meant to be used as a wall hanging, as an art piece. Reason I say that is I'm actually going to use a blanket stitch on this one. So it's the one that it's a straight and then over, straight over, straight over. That's the one I did for the corset quilt. Was the blanket stitch. And that one, the blanket stitch, you can then wash it. You can put it in the washer, dryer, and it secures it down a lot better. But if you just do a straight stitch, if you wash it a lot, it'll start to fray on the edges of the whatever you're appliquing down. Speaking of the corset quilt, I haven't even seen Megan yet, so I have not gotten any more material from her. I have it sitting up there under the link quilt. Still deciding what I want to do for the borders for that. I may do like some kind of crazy 9-patch design using all of her fabrics. I actually talked about the corset quilt today in the class because I had the grommet maker out. So we were doing the cinch sack, so you need a grommet in the very bottom of it. So I was talking about that's the only time I've ever used the grommet press is for those cinch sacks. And then my friend Megan, who's the corset maker, uses a grommet press all the time for her corsets. So it's really heavy. It's really hard to do it. And the kids had a ball doing it. So I was talking that for the corset quilt, I was thinking about putting grommets into it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm lazy. That's too much work. If someone was paying me to make a corset quilt, yeah, I'd probably put that extra work into it because, I'm getting paid for it. And I love Megan and she's my friend, but it looks fine without it. So I still have not decided if I'm streaming tomorrow or not. I may make a last minute decision. Whatever I decide, I will put it up on in my comment section. And then I'll also tomorrow put up my schedule for the next week. Yeah, I should have it up by 2 o'clock at the latest, probably. And then I'll put something on my Facebook as well with my schedule. There we go. All right. All of the pieces are cut out. So put the embroidery scissors away. And move those. I'm setting you right there. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm rearranging my space because I'm getting ready to iron on my table. Because the ironing board doesn't give me a large enough surface for applique. So how you iron on a table or flat surface, it's always a chance for me to clean off my table too, because I get so much lint and hair in there. Well, not hair, but lint and fabric. So I'm getting a towel, which I should have had out before I started streaming. All right, so you take a clean towel and you lay it on the surface. And that protects the table from any steam or anything that's going to come through, or any of the heat that you're pressing onto it. All right, so my black fabric is under here. Yep. All right. Now, I always want to make sure that it's flat. So there's no wrinkles and it's laid out nicely. There we go. Now, I want to make sure that this is centered. So that's 11 inches, and that is 12 inches. So it's got to move to the right. You know what? Let me move it to the 11 and a half mark. Nope, now that's 11 inches. Oh. Okay. Rookie mistake. I didn't turn my ruler. Okay, so it's 13 and a half inches, and that's 11 inches. So let's move it to 12 and see. And that is 12 and a half, okay? So let's move this to 12 and a quarter. And, oops, 12 and a little bit. Okay, so that should, because remember I added a little bit onto there? Yep, that's it. That's nice and straight. Okay, so I kind of want to move this up a little bit. So the reason why I want to have this is because I want to have my GameCube and Nintendo kind of centered under here. So first, let me stick these on. There. So Nintendo goes first. Yeah, you think this is common sense and I should know this, but... Oh, I learned a new trick today. So if you remember the link quilt, sometimes I was having a problem because of these big fat nails. And Jordan's not here. Her mom's in town, so she's at her mom. So if you score the back a little bit, you can actually pop it open and tear it. So it's a trick that I learned. There we go. And then you can peel it off. So next step is to peel all of the paper off. So now this is glue that's on the back of that T. So if you bend it and it doesn't work, which it doesn't for me sometimes. Oh, that didn't glue on there, right? And that happens too, where sometimes it doesn't stick all the way on there. Man, I miss Jordan. Now I'm not cutting through because I don't want to cut my fabric. I'm just scoring it. There it goes. I should just score for every single one. Seriously, I was watching a video earlier and I'm like, why didn't I think of that earlier? The biggest thing I have to be careful of is not going through the fabric. If I cut through the fabric, I gotta redo the whole thing. I don't want to do that. I did that enough with the actual logo. I almost forgot to take my name tag off from today. I went to stream and I looked in the camera and I went, oh hey, I have a name tag on. I've done it a couple of times where I've walked around places and been like, oh hey, yeah, my name tag's still there. You know, the whole thing of how does that person know my name? Oh, let's see if I can, because the Konas, nope. Stupid nails. See, once you get it started, it's super easy to pull off. It's just a matter of getting it started. Just making sure that I'm not going through the fabric. That would not be good. Stay. Almost done with the boring part. There we go. All right, boring part done. Okay, so now I've got this centered. I've got all that done. I can put away my embroidery scissors. Now, again, I'm relooking. Nintendo goes on top. So I'm not measuring anything yet. All I'm doing is kind of laying it out a little bit. And I know these letters have got to get spaced out a lot more than this. I'm just laying it out at this point because I want to see where I'm going with it. So, where's my G? Oh, there's my G. No, that's a C. No, that's a G. No. So G, A, M, B, that's a U. Oh. It would help if I spelled it right. Game, yeah. Yeah, you could totally see me doing that, couldn't you? Laying it all out and spelling it wrong, and then sewing it on that way. Okay, so this is the bottom of my quilt here. So what I want to do is move this down to probably about right there. So that's as far from the bottom as I think I want to go. Okay, now the N. Okay, so let me figure out first my G and my E for spacing. And then I'll worry about if it's straight and where it's going. So I've got, here's my, oh, here it is. All right, I'm thinking I want to go let's go 2.5 inches. So I'm going to go 2.5 inches from the corner of this. And let me flip this. Let's go 9 inches down. So let me move this over. 9 inches down, okay? So the E is done. The E is where I want it to be, so I am ironing that on. So that E is not going anywhere. And I realized I said I wanted to do the gray first, but that may not happen. Marley, what are you barking at? Oh, he's barking at the cat again. And I'll do the gray first. All right, so I said 9 inches down and 2.5 inches over. All right. This is on an angle. Oh, no wonder. I used my small one. I'm like, why is this not working? Because I used the small one. So 2.5 inches and 9. So that is where my G needs to be. Let's make sure. Yep, the rest of that can work. That's fine. And I'm following along my line right here and my line right here to make sure that everything is lined up. So my G. Now, if I didn't put this towel here and I didn't do the ironing here, I would have to pick this whole thing up and move it over to the ironing board and iron it, which for the first couple of appliques I did, I actually did that. And sometimes they would get crooked a little bit because this is on there now. I've ironed it on. It's glued. Once it's cooled, it's glued on there. It may peel a little as I'm getting ready to sew it and do it, but then once I sew it down, it's really on there. So yeah, that's another reason I kind of learned the hard way. All right, so I am going to do the Nintendo first. Yep, let me do that. And let me line the Nintendo up. So let's do the Nintendo 3 inches away from the GameCube. And it's the same, yep, it's just a little bit in. Let's go 1 inch in from the edge of the GameCube. So I'm going 3 inches up and 1 inch in. No, I changed my mind. I'm gonna go 2 inches because I'm looking at this and it really is a little closer together than that. So 1 inch in, 2 inches up. Oops, and of course I moved it. Inch and a half. And yes, this is how I decide all my stuff. It's all trial and error. Decide how it looks. I like that. That looks good. The end. Alright, so let's iron the end down. Okay. And then let's do the O. So we're going 1.5 inches up and 1 inch in. This way. Okay. Here is my O. Needs a flatter bottom. And I gotta cut the side off a little bit. I know it's not something other people would see, but it bothers me. There we go. That's a nice O. Okay, so it's 1.5 inches up and it's 1 inch over. It's exactly what I did there. O's getting ironed down. Okay, now let's do the rest of Nintendo. Oops. Okay, that looks about right. I have about 25 inches between the N and the O. So let's try it at 2 inch intervals and see how that works. Oops, flip it. Okay. Now I'm not worried about if this is straight or not. All I'm doing at this point is figuring out my intervals. That was already there. And that's 3.5. Okay, that won't work. Let's go 2 1/4. Oops. Stay. For the T's, I'm looking at the top here for my interval. I'm not looking at the bottom, which is why I'm measuring from this point. And again, yes, I do this for every single one of my appliques. I am very anal about measurements and positioning. Look at that, 2 1/4. Perfect. Okay, so 2 1/4 it is. Now, they're laid out exactly where they should go. Now I need to worry about on the line. Okay, so that's 1.5 inches. That's 1.5 inches. There we are. So now my letters need to come down and touch the line. Now I need to be very careful not to move them to the left or right at all. There we go. Nice. And now, and I also have to be careful not to iron down any of the GameCube. I'm only ironing Nintendo. Oops. I nudged that one a little bit. Now, to make it easier while I am sewing, I am not putting the rest of the GameCube on there yet. So I'm going to take these letters off, and I just need the G and the E for placement, for centering. And thank you. I agree, yay. But it worked the first time. Yeah, the applique letters, I mean, I've got the TARDIS, the huge TARDIS that's got them. I've got my Pokemon quilt. I've got so many things that I applique letters on. Hopefully I know how to get them nice and laid out by now, because I've done them enough. Alright. My stream health is amazing. I'm so happy. My stream health is amazing. It hasn't dipped once. I think I've got this figured out. Alright, so I've got gray and gray. Time for surgery. Isn't that what you said, Chrissy Ann? That when I put them on, it's time for surgery? Alright. Amber, I don't think you've seen me do applique before. So these are quilting gloves. Whenever I'm doing actual quilting or if I'm doing applique, I use them. They're not sticky, but they have a surface that grips fabric so that it doesn't go anywhere. It stays right where my hands are. So it allows me to move the fabric exactly where I want it to go. So I'm using a blanket stitch. I'm doing an extra, and let me sew these letters on. Oops. Something is not right. Why are you bouncing on me? I think I need a new table. There we go. Oh, much better. Somehow my leg adjustments got changed. And as you can see, this is how the letters can get pulled off sometimes when you're actually sewing them on. Sometimes the thread doesn't get sucked in, so I've got to trim it off. Now what it's doing here, I have a button that back stitches for me automatically. So I just push that button and it back stitches and then cuts it for me. So it's already almost 7:15 and there's no way I'm going to get this whole thing done tonight. So I will be doing this the next stream as well. And then the stream after that, I'll start doing the t-shirt quilts again. I want to make sure I get them all cut out and laid, and that way I can lay them out for next week. I still haven't heard from the commission that has the Final Fantasy quilt. So I will message him tomorrow and make sure he saw the email to pick the fabrics. I can get all of these letters ironed on tonight and sewn, then it won't take me long the next stream to assemble everything together. No, it's, so go to my site. So, quiltoni.com. I don't have an FAQ. It is, so if you go to the quiltoni.com and then look at commissions. At the top, there's pricing schedule for commissions. See, when I'm doing applique, I always forget how long it takes to cut all those pieces out, too. So... let me see... Let me see if I can send you the link in chat. Yeah, Twitch and commissions. And then Twitch right there, there's my streaming for my Twitch. And then underneath of it, the commissions is the pricing. So I will just pop that in chat too, in case there's anyone else that wants the actual link. And that's also pictures of a lot of my commissions as well. So a lot of the quilts that I've made. They're not all there, but a lot of them are there. Like, I don't know if I'm going to put this one there because it is a trademark. So I may not even put that one on my page at all. I do double-sided quilts. Now, the trick with double-sided quilts is the design has to be the exact same on both sides. If it's not the exact same, it won't work. Well, exact same size. I'm sorry, not the exact same design. And when you applique these pieces, yes, you want to sew the inside as well. Because if you don't sew it with a blanket stitch or a zigzag or something, it's going to fray. And you don't want it to fray. That is the whole point of doing this, is it keeps it from fraying. If you look at the link, it takes a lot longer to do it too. The link is just the straight stitch around, boom, it's done. This one's a little bit longer. And then the O. And then after I get the O done, I'm going to switch the thread and sew on the G and the E for the GameCube down below. After I sew those, I'll then lay out the rest of the letters. My scissors stuck to my metallic bowl that I put all of my needles in. I couldn't find it for a moment. Yeah, when I said, after I made the logo yesterday, when I said the rest is cake, I've done all this stuff before, so hopefully I won't mess it up. But we know how I am, so hopefully. Alright, last bit with the gray. There we go. Alright. Nintendo is all on there and done. So, it's always easier to work with a thread when your gloves come off. So I've got that. Oh, my bobbins are upstairs. Oh wait, are they in here? Ha ha ha! I brought them downstairs. Fantastic. White. I'll put the gray away. Thank you very much, Amber. I appreciate that. And where is my white? Where did I put my white? Am I out of white? Nice, I may have used all my white. So I'm going to use this white. Yeah, the nice thing about this machine, it has an automatic threader and the automatic cutter. It is so nice. Alright, so let me sew on the E and the G, and then I'll lay out the other letters and sew them on. Now, the biggest thing here is I've got this folded over. Something that I have done many times is sewn in the other side underneath. So that's why whenever I do my applique, I make sure everything is perfectly flat before I actually sew. Because then that tells me I don't have anything hiding underneath that I'm going to sew to it. Alright. Where did I stick my... Oh, they're stuck to my bowl again. I think Christiane fell asleep again. She's in Europe. So I think, what time is it there? I think it's either 12:30 or 1:30 there. They're either 5 or 6 hours ahead of me. I can never remember which one it is. Oh, hey! You didn't fall asleep yet. So are you 5 hours or 6 hours ahead? I know it's late. And it's past my bedtime if I live there. Yeah, the dogs are playing. It's actually my husband playing with the dogs. You can hear him squeaking it and throwing it. They're playing upstairs. It's the one thing I don't mind if he's loud for. Because, you know, dogs need to play. Because they're cute. Oh, it's only 4 hours? Oh, that's not bad. So, 11:30, that's not too bad. Hey, hon, you want to be on the stream again?
No, I don't think so. I probably...
Oh, you're just playing with the dogs?
Yeah.
You know what I should do when I do the T-Rex cake for you next Monday?
Yeah?
I should totally make you wear the costume as I test it. Monday night. You want to do that?
Yeah.
He's ignoring me. He's already gone. Amber says hi. He yelled out hi. I am totally gonna make him wear that costume. And if you look at the videos of, you know, the T-Rexes do, you know, the people that T-Rex is doing things, he has one of those costumes. So I am making a cake for it. One of these days, I will learn how to use my little lever thing that goes to the side of my machine so that I don't have to actually lift up my presser foot by myself. I can just use my thigh or my leg to kind of like push it and lift it up. I just haven't had time to sit down and learn how to use it. Maybe I'll have Show me at Spring Market in St. Louis in May. Alright, so the G and the E are done. So now, no, it doesn't matter the logo at all because everything now is going to be based off of the existing G and E and the existing Nintendo. So let me lay this out again on my towel. Make sure everything is perfectly smooth. Now, when I'm smoothing it out, I'm not pulling, I'm not stretching. Because you don't want to stretch the fabric. You only want to smooth it. Just make sure my iron is still on. So I'm going to do the same exact thing as I did with here. I'm just going to randomly lay them out. And then I'm going to see how much space I have and measure between the spaces. Spelled it wrong again. Game. E. C. U. B. E. All right, so I think maybe not that much space. Maybe just a half of an inch. Well, maybe that half inch is going to be too little of a space. Maybe I have to move to a 1/4 inch, but we'll see. No, and then that's an inch. Okay, so at this point, I am just going to slowly shift, whoops, just a little. Space things out just a touch more. There we are, and now they're all evenly spaced. So same exact thing what I did with the Nintendo I'm going to do here. So I'm going to, in fact, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to level up from the top. So we have 1.5 inches from the Nintendo. So all the way across, 1.5 inches from the Nintendo. Let me add on another ruler. And 1.5 inches from the Nintendo. And you see it lines up perfectly here and it lines up perfectly there. So now I just need to adjust my letters. And there we go. And I know it looks a little weird right here. It doesn't look like it because it's kind of sticking up a little bit. Once I sew it down, it'll be even. So let me move my rulers and iron it on. Now I'm making sure as I iron it, oh, and I bumped that C, that I go flat down, because if I iron it this way, if I actually move the iron as I'm ironing it, it will move the letters as I iron it. And I want to make sure my letters, as they go down, they're sticky and they're almost permanent. And I've got to completely redo it if it's wrong, which I've had to do before. Oh man, I keep bumping those letters. There we go. All right, my GameCube is ironed on. So let's sew it. And then I'm done with the applique portion. Yay. You know, because I'm not finishing it tonight, I think I'm leaning towards streaming tomorrow. I wasn't going to, but it is just a exhibition game. I really want to get this quilt done. And I'm going to stream Saturday and Sunday afternoon. That way my Europe people can watch me and it's not late at night. So I really want to get all 7 of those t-shirt quilts cut out so I can have them ready to lay out. Because Monday, I'm making the cape. And then Tuesday during the day, I'm going to be at the family center. I'm going to actually pin some quilts. I'm going to pin this one if it's done. I'll pin the link quilt and a couple of panel quilts I'm going to bring to C2E2. And then I also want to lay out all those t-shirt quilts so that I can send them to the lady that's commissioned them. And then get her opinion of how she likes the layouts. And yay for finally figuring out all of the issues with the stream. Of course, I've jinxed myself now that I said that, and it's going to drop and lag and... Because that's what I do, right? I jinx myself. And I don't think I'm going to stream on Friday, although there is a small chance my friend Susan may come over in the afternoon. And if she does, I'm going to make her stream with me. I'm going to make her sew on camera. Susan's another quilter. I really need to chat with my friends and see when they can come. And I know my friend Megan, the corset woman, is planning on coming over a day. I think we decided we're going to do it in April. She lives about an hour and a half away and she doesn't have a car, so she has to take the bus. So that really has to be planned out like super in advance. But it would be super cool in order for you guys to see not only me quilting, but I'll have her making corsets at the same exact time. So you can ask both of us questions if you want. And plus, I love Megan. She's one of my friends. I love her. And then when I'm in Maryland in May, that's the next time I'm going down to my Maryland address, I have convinced Nicole to do a live stream with me. So Nicole's my business partner that I do for craft hackers and that I do shows with, conventions. She makes, if you look at pictures of conventions, she's the one that makes all the little amigurumi dolls. So she crochets dolls, scarves, plushes, things like that, which are super cool. So I have convinced her to do a stream with me. She thinks she's boring and no one's going to watch her do this stuff. And I'm like, are you kidding? They're going to love it. There we go. Oh, I gotta turn my volume down. There we go. Sorry, I just want to pop over and actually see how the stream was. And it looks good, and I am very happy. Alright, so no more stream issues. We've solved them. See, that's part of the learning curve of Twitch, right? Hi, Soleil. So, our cat, like most cats, spills her food a lot. So she's a messy eater, and as she's eating, she spills the food everywhere. And Soleil, the Papillon, is a very food-motivated dog. And so if it is food, she loves it and she wants it. She does anything for food. So she has learned that the cat is super messy, and there is cat food everywhere. So she likes to come down and clean up after the cat. So she comes down and checks all around where the cat is. I know you're looking at me. And sees if the cat has dropped anything. And then she comes and sits next to me and acts all cute because she wants me to give her a TRAT. And that's not going to happen while I'm appliquing. I may give her one after. I may have her do what I did yesterday, jump on the chair and be super cute. Because, you know, she's super cute. Alright, 2 more letters. And I, am done with the applique. Okay, again, I'm going to jinx myself. I cannot believe that any of the letters didn't come off. Because normally by now I have to bring the iron over and give it some spot heat in order to get them to stay until I've got them sewn on. That's the only thing with these gloves. The stray little threads stick to them. And it's annoying. And last letter. What time is it? Oh, I'm doing good. Well, I didn't get as far as I wanted to today, but I got a lot done. At least I'm getting all the applique done. center. I can hear my husband setting up the PlayStation upstairs. We're going to play Borderlands tonight with a friend. So I can hear him setting it all up, which is fantastic. So whenever I finish, I go upstairs and play some games. Alright, I am done with applique, and I am done with those gloves for a while. Alright, we've got Nintendo GameCube. All done. So, let me rearrange all my stuff again, put the towel back, and I'll lay it all out for you. There we go. So it's going to look like that. So then, yay. I'm happy. So, tomorrow, or Saturday, tomorrow, maybe. I promise I'll put something up by like 2 o'clock if I'm going to stream tomorrow. And I'll have my schedule for the next week. So, the next time I stream, I am going to put the black on the edges here. I'll put the black, once I do the edges, I'll do the black on top. And then I'll sew this bottom on there. And then once I get the entire center done, I will do borders. So my plan is 3 borders. So I'm doing just like in the picture. I'm going to do the light on the first border, medium on the next border, then dark on the next border. Haven't quite decided the sizes. I'll go into borders and sizes and things like that the next time I stream when I get that far, because it's a whole complicated formula you're supposed to do for relation of borders and yeah, whatever. And I cheat, because, you know, I like to take the shortcuts sometimes and stuff. So I cheat with borders. So I will, I'll go through all that tomorrow. See, I keep saying tomorrow. I really do want to stream tomorrow, I think is what I'm thinking. Is what I'm telling myself by constantly saying tomorrow. So, but that's it for tonight. And of course, as I say that's it, I get a bunch more people logging in to watch. So, I'm done for this evening. I know I am. I'm a cheater. So, I am done for this evening. That's all I'm going to work on for right now. I will continue on. Man, I really want to show you my secret project. I may show you a little bit of the secret project tomorrow. Just a little bit. Because I'm looking at it and I'm like, I really want to share some of it. But I can't share all of it. I can just share little bits of it. So you can't see what I'm doing. So I may share that also. So I will post tomorrow the new schedule for the week. Thank you. Thank you, especially Amber. I love how you pop in every night now. Thank you. So I will see you guys later.